You pay $3 a month for accidental death and dismemberment insurance. Your employer offers it. It seems like a no-brainer. If you die in a car crash, your family gets an extra $50,000. If you lose a hand, you get a payout. It feels like cheap peace of mind. But here is the number that should make you angry. Only about 5% of all deaths are from accidents. The other 95% are from natural causes like heart attacks, cancer, and strokes. Your AD&D policy pays nothing for those. Nothing. You are paying for coverage that will almost certainly never pay a claim. And the real tragedy is that many people buy AD&D thinking it replaces real life insurance. It does not. It is a supplement at best, and for most people, it is a complete waste of money. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what AD&D insurance covers, the 5 huge gaps that make it almost useless, and why term life insurance is almost always a better deal. I will break down the difference between accidental death and natural death, the gruesome details of what counts as dismemberment, and the common exclusions that leave families with nothing. You will learn the one scenario where AD&D makes sense, and the simple alternative that provides real protection. If you have AD&D insurance, or if you are thinking about buying it, this video could save you from wasting years of premiums. Let me start with the most important fact about AD&D. It pays only if you die or lose a limb or eyesight as the direct result of an accident. That is it. If you die of a heart attack, a stroke, cancer, or any illness, the policy pays $0. If you die in a car accident, it pays. If you are hit by a bus, it pays. But if you have a heart attack while driving and crash, the insurance company will argue that the heart attack caused the accident, not the accident itself. They will deny the claim. I have seen this happen. A man had a heart attack, lost control of his car, and died. His AD&D policy denied the claim because the heart attack was a natural cause. His family got nothing. Now here is the pattern interrupt that most people do not know. AD&D policies are filled with exclusions. Common exclusions include death from drug or alcohol use, flying in a private plane, participating in risky sports like skydiving or skiing, and even dying from a bacterial infection after an accident. Read the fine print. You will be shocked at what is not covered. One policy excluded death from choking on food. Another excluded death from a bee sting. Some exclude death from a car accident if you were not wearing a seatbelt. The list is endless. Let me break down the dismemberment portion. If you lose a hand, you might get 50% of the benefit. A foot, 50%. Loss of sight in one eye, 50%. But here is the catch. You must lose the entire hand. If you lose a thumb and 2 fingers, you get nothing. If you lose a foot but still have your toes, you get nothing. If you are partially paralyzed but still have all your limbs, you get nothing. The definitions are precise and narrow. A study found that less than 1% of AD&D claims are for dismemberment. Most claims are for accidental death, and accidental death is rare. Now let me give you the numbers. According to the National Safety Council, the odds of dying from an accident in a given year are about 1 in 1,600. The odds of dying from heart disease are 1 in 6. The odds of dying from cancer are 1 in 7. You are over 200 times more likely to die from a natural cause than from an accident. That means for every dollar you spend on AD&D, you are betting on an outcome that has a tiny probability. That is not insurance, that is a lottery. So why do people buy AD&D? Because it is cheap. $3 a month for $50,000 of coverage sounds great, and many employers offer it as a voluntary benefit. So you just check a box. You do not think about it. But that cheap premium is not buying real protection. It is buying a false sense of security. For a few dollars more, you could buy real term life insurance that pays no matter how you die. Let me compare. A healthy 30-year-old non-smoker can buy a $250,000 20-year term life policy for about $15 per month. That is 5 times more expensive than AD&D, but it pays for death from any cause. Heart attack, cancer, stroke, car accident, murder, anything. The odds of that policy paying a claim are vastly higher. The value is vastly higher. For an extra $12 per month, you get complete protection. That is the real deal. Now let me talk about the one scenario where AD&D might make sense. If you already have maximum term life insurance and you have a dangerous job or hobby that your term policy covers without extra exclusions, and you want a little extra cushion for your family, AD&D can be a cheap addition. For example, if you are a construction worker or a truck driver, your risk of accidental death is higher than average. A small AD&D policy might make sense as a supplement, but never as a replacement. If you cannot afford term life, you cannot afford to skip it. AD&D is not a substitute. What about the UK and Canada? In the UK, accidental death cover is often sold as a rider to life insurance. The same principles apply. It is cheap, but it only pays for accidents. In Canada, AD&D is also available. The statistics are similar. Natural causes dominate. Do not rely on AD&D as your primary coverage. Let me give you a real-world example of the wrong way to use AD&D. A single mother in Florida had no life insurance. She bought a $50,000 AD&D policy through her employer because it was cheap. She thought her family would be okay. She died of cancer. Her family received nothing. They had to use a GoFundMe to pay for her funeral. If she had spent the same money on a term life policy, her family would have had $50,000. That is the difference between a few dollars a month and financial ruin. Now, let me give you a real-world example of the right way. A man in Texas was a commercial pilot. He already had $1 million term life policy. He bought an additional $250,000 AD&D policy because his job had higher accident risk. He died in a plane crash. His family received the term life payout and the AD&D payout. That was extra protection on top of his base coverage. He did not rely on AD&D alone. So what should you do right now? Step 1, if you have AD&D insurance, check whether you also have term life insurance. If you do not, cancel the AD&D and buy term life first. Step 2, if you have term life and want extra accidental death coverage for a dangerous job or hobby, consider a small AD&D policy, but keep it small. Step 3, never, ever let an employer or agent convince you that AD&D is a replacement for real life insurance. It is not. Step 4, if you are young and healthy, a 20-year term policy is so cheap that AD&D is almost irrelevant. Buy the term policy first. Let me also address the common trap of buying AD&D for your children. Many parents buy small AD&D policies for their kids because they are cheap. The odds of a child dying from an accident are extremely low. The money is better spent on a savings account for their future. Do not waste your money. Let me recap the key takeaways. Number 1, AD&D pays only for accidental death or dismemberment. Natural causes like heart attack and cancer are not covered. Number 2, only about 5% of deaths are from accidents. The vast majority of AD&D policies never pay a claim. Number 3, AD&D policies are filled with exclusions. Read the fine print carefully. Number 4, for a few dollars more, you can buy term life insurance that pays for any cause of death. That is real protection. Number 5, the only situation where AD&D makes sense is as a supplement to a large term life policy for people with high accident risk. Number 6, in the UK and Canada, the same logic applies. Term life is superior. Number 7, do not buy AD&D for your children. The odds are too low. Save the money instead. Number 8, the cheapest insurance is not always the best value. AD&D is cheap for a reason. Here is what I want you to do right now. If you have AD&D insurance, look at your policy. Find the exclusion section. Count how many ways you could die that are not covered. Then go to a term life comparison site and get a quote for a $250,000 20-year policy. Compare the cost. If you are healthy, the term policy will be only slightly more expensive. Cancel the AD&D and buy the term policy. You will sleep better knowing your family is truly protected. If this video helped you understand the truth about AD&D insurance, hit the like button. It helps more people stop wasting money on limited coverage. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss my next video, which is called The One Type of Insurance Every Parent Needs. It is not AD&D. And comment below, have you ever bought AD&D insurance? Did you realize it only covers accidents? Share your story. I read every comment. Thanks for watching. Now go buy real life insurance. See you in the next one.